There are fathers listening to this homily who could say to their children on the day of their wedding, "Love one another as your mother and myself have loved each other." There are some other parents who would perhaps say this other thing in their hearts, but their sense of modesty would prevent them from spelling it out openly. Love one another as we have loved you. We can very well understand what the parents mean. Just think of the first day at school when the child was all lost and troubled. Of this long wait on the veranda at the hospital when someone in the family was sick. Of this conversation off the cuff for no reason, but just because youth needs to protest. Of the days of apprehension before the exams and the support of the parents. Of the time of waiting for business to pick up. And finally, of the joy of having succeeded in studies, of having found a job, of having found love, of the times when things got brighter once again. To love is all of these put together. To love is to write a history. To love is to weave life. When the apostles heard, "Love one another as I have loved you," it was the whole of their life with Jesus that was hidden behind this commandment. Since the very first day when he invited them to spend the evening with them, and then his acceptance of each of them, his interest for what each one was, the demands he made on them, and the confidence that he placed in them. We can imagine, for example, how each of the 12 apostles, like each of the women, delivered of demons or of sickness, had their right to his friendship and intimacy. We can think of the long and patient education that Jesus must have provided them to calm the ardor of the zealots among his disciples, for example, and what tensions he must have had to face before bringing together 12 completely different characters into one college of apostles, until the very last moment when he will have to wash their feet in order to exhort them to love one another as I have loved you. Or think of the difficult moments of the Passion. As he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, Judas came to hand him over, and Jesus received him by calling him my friend, and presented himself in a calm and strong manner to his captors, preoccupied as he was to save his disciples. If it is me you are looking for, let these men go. On the cross, he prayed for his persecutors. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. He was such a disarming person that even the bandit who was crucified with him felt like calling upon him for help. And Jesus promised him a share in his life and his bliss. Jesus does not wait for the other person to become lovable in order to love him or her. It is the love of Jesus that will bring the other one out of the depths into which he has sunk. The sun does not wait for the flower to blossom in order to give it warmth. It is rather because the sun gives its warmth and light that the flower blooms. Anyone who realizes how much he or she is loved, despite his sins and failures, cannot remain the same person. He gets transformed and becomes in turn an agent of pardon and peace. The love of Jesus is an attitude, a way of being with people. Love turns topsy-turvy all the travel plans when on the side of the road lies a foreigner wounded by robbers. It then signs a blank check for the expense to come. Love welcomes without reproach the son who had run away. No banquet can be sumptuous enough to receive him. Love goes through ravines and brambles in search of the one who lost his way. Maybe then it will have to brave the criticisms of the flock that it has left behind. How could you move with this sort of people, pathetic folk whose company brings discredit upon your person? If only you knew this woman who is touching you. Love dares to say that prostitutes and publicans will precede others into the kingdom of heaven. As I have loved you, is all of these put together in the agitated Palestine of 2,000 years ago. It is a life sacrifice till death on the cross. Now we can understand the saying of the famous writer Bernanos: "When I die, will you go and tell the world that I have loved it more than I ever dared to declare?" He says that the source of his love is God. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. This is the love that brought the chosen people to freedom by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. It is the love that offered them a covenant, only to witness to the breaking of the covenant for a calf made of gold, obliging it to be renewed again and again and again. It is the love of God, of David, the young lad chosen to be king, and who yet commits the hideous sin of having Uriah killed in order to camouflage his adultery. When he will repent, God will forgive him, and his tireless efforts to build up his kingdom will make of him the greatest king the nation ever had, and his name will even become one of titles of the Messiah, Son of David. It is the love spurned, but incredibly tenacious, revealed by the prophet Hosea. Israel is like an unfaithful wife who has abandoned her husband. While she is still in the wilderness, the Lord goes in search of her to win her back, to win back her love and bring her back home. The joy of Jesus stems from his ability to give himself totally to save his brothers and sisters, and thus make of his life an offering to the Father. It is an act of thanksgiving for being able to love beyond the limits. So far, the apostles have tasted the bliss of being loved by him. Now he wants them to have a still greater joy, that of giving their lives in their turn for their brothers and sisters. St. John says in the second reading today, "In this is love. It is not we who loved God, it is he who loved us. And now God counts on us, and the world needs our joy and our hope.